Now we will see how do we make use of the unique and the check constraint. So in this tutorial you will learn about MySQL unique constraint and how to use unique constraint to enforce the uniqueness of values in a column or a group of columns in a table. Now sometimes you want to ensure values in a column or a group of columns to be unique. For example, email addresses of users in the users table or phone number of customers in the customers table should be unique. To enforce this rule, you use a unique constraint. A unique constraint is an integrity constraint that ensures value in a column or a group of columns to be unique. So how do you specify this constraint? While creating a table, you specify the column name, that is your attribute name, followed by the definition of the attribute, and then you make use of the keyword unique. So this can be used if you are specifying only one attribute in a relation to be unique. In case there are more than one attributes which should be unique, then you specify this particular syntax. While creating a table, that is create table, table name, you specify your attributes, the definition of the attributes, and then you use the keyword unique, and whichever attributes should be unique, the values in those attributes should be unique, you specify them in parentheses separated with commas. So in the syntax you include the unique keyword in the definition of the column that you want to enforce the uniqueness rule. If you insert or update a value that causes duplicate in the column name, MySQL will reject the change and it will give you an error. The unique constraint is a column constraint and you can use it to enforce the unique rule for one or more than one columns. So if you define a unique constraint without specifying a name, in this case MySQL automatically generates a name for it. So to define a unique constraint with a name, you make use of the following syntax. So you make use of the keyword constraint, you specify the user defined constraint name, and then you specify which attributes in your relations would be having the unique constraint. We'll have a look at an example to make it clear. Now in this table, I am creating a relation by the name suppliers. My attributes are supplier ID, name, phone, address. Supplier ID is the primary key, and I am specifying some constraints on more than one attribute. I am making sure that the phone number is unique. I am also specifying that the name and address must be unique. You can see here unique name and address. But for this I am specifying a constraint name using the keyword constraint, and the constraint name is UC underscore name underscore address. Now what is the benefit of using this constraint name? Maybe in future I realize that I don't require the name and address to be unique. In real-time databases, name and address can never be unique. There will be always duplications. So in future if I think that okay, I don't require this particular constraint, I require to remove this constraint. So based on this constraint name, I can remove the constraint that I applied on this table. But this is not a compulsion. We will see later. Now let's try to insert some tuples in this relation. So I make the first insertion in my table suppliers. I make an insertion with respect to name, the phone number and the address. So my first insertion is the name is ABC, phone number is this, and this is my address. So this will be accepted. The second insertion is with respect to name, phone and address again, but this time the name is XYZ Corporation. This is my phone number and this is my address. Now this will create an error because the phone number over here and the phone number over here is the same. So this will not be accepted. I go with my next insertion. Now in this case, the name is different, the phone number is different, and the address also is different. So in this case, the first tuple and this tuple differ with with respect to all the three attributes, and this will be accepted. Now, as I have mentioned earlier, in case you don't require the constraint, the unique constraint that has been applied to your table, you want to remove it, then you alter the structure of your table. So the query is alter table. Now in our case, it is suppliers. The keyword is drop index and your index name. So basically this index name is your constraint name. We'll see an example on this. Now if we want to remove the constraint that is applied with respect to the attribute phone, but we did not give any constraint name with respect to phone, but we gave a constraint name with respect to name and address. You can see here, with respect to name and address, with the unique key constraint, we gave the constraint name as UC underscore name underscore address for these two attributes, that is name and address. But with respect to the phone attribute, we do not specify any constraint name, but by default MySQL has given it a constraint name called as phone. You can see the structure by using the query show, create, table and the name of your table. That will give you the entire structure of your table. So even though in this case we have not specified the constraint name for our attribute phone, the MySQL has given a constraint name for this particular attribute. So if I want to remove this attribute, I can make use of this index name. So once a table has been created, and after the table has been created, you want to add a constraint after the creation of table, then you can always do that using the alter clause. So the query would be alter table, table name, add constraint, give a constraint name. This can be any user defined name. Specify the constraint to be unique and specify the column list. Given the example over here. So after creation of the table, you are trying to apply a constraint on the same relation. So the query would be alter table, table name is suppliers, add constraint, give any constraint name so that you can recollect it later. Specify the constraint that is unique, and the attributes, since it is more than one over here, you put it in parenthesis separated with a comma ending with a semicolon. Now we will discuss MySQL check constraint to ensure that values stored in a column or a group of columns satisfy a Boolean expression. So we'll look at the syntax of check. So first you specify the name of the check constraint that you want to create. If you omit the constraint name, MySQL automatically generates a constraint name for it. Second, you specify a Boolean expression which must evaluate to true or unknown for each row of the table. If the expression evaluates to false, the value violates the constraint or a constraint violation occurs. Third, optionally specify an enforcement clause to indicate whether the check constraint is enforced or it is not enforced. Use enforced or just omit the enforced clause to create and enforce the constraint. You can make use of not enforced to create the constraint but do not enforce it. We'll look at an example. Now here we are trying to create a table called as parts with the attribute part number, which is a primary key, next attribute description, next attribute cost and price. The data type of cost is decimal, the data type of price is decimal, which is set to not null, both the cases. Now the check constraint that is specified on the cost attribute is that the cost must be always greater than 0 and the price also must always be greater than equals to 0. So whenever you make an insertion, it will make a check on these two attributes, that is cost and price, and make sure that the values are always greater than 0. So now when we try to make an insertion, so before that we will execute the show create table query that will give you the structure of this table. So when we execute this particular query, show create table parts, it shows you the entire query that created this particular table. Now even though in our query we do not give a constraint name, you can see that MySQL has taken care of it and has specified a constraint name with respect to check, with respect to the attribute cost, and with respect to the attribute price. Now the constraint name that is given to cost is parts underscore check underscore 1, and the constraint name that is assigned to the second attribute, that is price, the constraint name is parts underscore check underscore 2. Now when we are trying to make an insertion, okay, let's look at the query. We are trying to insert a part number, the description, cost and price. In our case, the part number is A-001, the description it's a cooler. The cost is specified as 0 over here, and whereas the price is specified as minus 100. Now the check constraint says that the cost and price should be always greater than equals to 0. And in this case, MySQL will issue an error. So now the error has been issued with respect to your constraint parts check 2, since this particular constraint has been violated. It is being violated only because the value is in the negative range, which does not satisfy this condition. So basically it is a constraint violation.